Alright, so assessing the damage, I think we can maybe even get this thing saved. Let me zoom out a little bit. Get this thing saved with this front clip. Now, if this is going to be long term, then yes, we were putting the front clip from the parts car on this. But, should I do an intro? Sure. We're going to get this pulled out and make this shit work. So, assessing the damage. So we see we have a little bit of a fold right here, but not terrible. Like, you can't honestly tell that side got hit. This side, the motor and the trans, I believe, are pushed back just because of the rubber mounts. I think once we get this piece right here bent back, then the motor and trans should come back forward. That was the real damage right here. As you can see, it crumpled. I don't know if you get that on camera. Right there. Right there. So I got that crumpled. The fender, I already got the tire loose, so we can jack this thing up. It all just got pushed back in there, so. And honestly, right here, we could honestly just, if we really wanted to, we could just cut that off and make it work. But I'm going to try to do it kind of right, and then we are probably good to go, honestly. So I will come back to y'all when the wheel is off. So it's kind of hard to remember to record when you're using a sledgehammer, because it's kind of fun. But as you can see, I have the front bumper off. Yeah. And on Facebook, people were like, well, it must have not been that hard of an impact. Well, keep in mind the tree was angled, so the car went up the tree in the accident, which is why it's folded. Shit on my camera. We started to get this bent out. As you can see, it's bent out a little bit more. A little bit. My dilemma, I'm gonna have to cut this. Turns out this piece right here that I thought was structural is not. It's not a structural piece. This is right here in the middle that I cut. So what I'm probably gonna try to do is I'm gonna cut that bottom piece off, because that's just the, the bottom of that part. I'm gonna see if I can cut that off and then bend the rest of this out. Get some steel and brace it so it's structural. Yeah, I mean, obviously this ain't gonna be like this forever. I'm gonna, do it right, but I mean, hey dude, we're making progress. Well, I can definitely say that. I mean, I guess I don't really have a before and after, but that's a whole lot better than what it was. Probably what I'll do is I'll get the one end of the hammer out and see if I can get this pulled out here. We have just a sloping, and this is why you don't cut your springs, guys. Yeah, see how that spring just kind of, I think I'm just gonna push down on this and see if I can get the spring to pop back into place. But you hear the gist, it's not safe to cut your springs, people. It's not. Well, most people know. Just know if you're cutting your springs, you're not safe. And as you can see, the fender creased a little bit with the door here, so the door's a little hard to open, but it's still kind of a painful noise. Let's see if I can do something about that. But I guess I'll update y'all in a bit. I'm gonna see, like I said, cut that bottom part off. I don't feel like getting the saw right now. And then I need to also figure out how I'm mounting the new radiator. Is this headlight falling out? Yeah, it is. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's all broken anyways. This is all if this car lives, then all this is getting replaced up here. Probably what I'll do is I'll cut. Yeah, I'll probably replace. This is slightly creased. I would probably cut here off. This could stay right there. And on this side, I'd cut right along there, down up the wheel well to here, and then I'd probably, you know what I'm saying. It would take a lot of work. It just need a whole new front clip, basically. But I mean, I don't see why I couldn't. Yeah, it's coming along quite nicely, though. It's definitely less pushed down, as you can tell. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I might honestly, I don't know. My dilemma right now is how I'm going to mount the radiator. And I sort of got the hood unbent. It'll probably never latch again. I'll probably use like I don't know, ratchet strap maybe or just run it hoodless. I don't know. Doesn't make a huge deal. So guess and some more good news. The another thing I was worried about is the linkage for the throttle. All this moves fine, so I'm not worried about that. And yeah, like I said, the motor and trans is pushed back a little bit, and it was not because of that motor mount. So, or it wasn't because, you know, the piece was pushing on it. I think the actual, oh yeah, you can see it down there. The actual motor mount itself is creased. We'll look on the other side, but I think it's going to be the same story. Actually, you can't really see it. It's creased. The only thing it does is it can't go into park, which just don't park on hills. That's story of my life. Just don't park on hills. There you go. Perfect and beautiful. Anyhow, I will update y'all whenever more progress happens. Alright, so we got to this point. I put a bar across here, ratchet strapped the radiator to it. The oil cooler's right there. Filled it up with motor oil, filled it up with trans fluid. Well, out of the line, but I did get it over here. Did drive, sort of. Trans is not happy. Gotta figure that out. So, we're down to minor issues now. Before, it was puking oil out of the oil cooler lines, so these lines were finicky. I had to tighten, loosen, but these lines are not leaking anymore. It's not puking oil anymore. Good. Now it's puking trans fluid, so the trans slips really bad. Why is it puking trans fluid, you may ask? Right down. Focus. Focus. There we go. That line, you can see where it's broke right there. Down at the radiator. And you can see that's just a soft line. Stop focusing on my finger, you dumb phone. So that's the part where it goes to the radiator. And then there's the soft line, and you see the soft line's broken right there. But the rest of it's fine, and then it goes down to this other part right there. So what I'm going to do, instead of spending like $10 on a new line, I have this piece that came off a power steering pump from the parts car, and this flange is able to bolt to the radiator. I'm just going to bolt it right there, and then I'm going to run the line. I'm going to cut the line and then just use this hose clamp and bolt it to here. Since this is a trans line, it's not going to have a whole ton of pressure, and if this is working for power steering, then it can work for trans. And another thing is the power steering doesn't even work in this car anymore. So you can see it just spins. That's because the crank pulley got messed up, so you can see down there. So this all kind of wobbles, but it still runs. It all works somehow. So I'm going to come back to y'all when that's installed and it's not leaking, or I'm sorry, not leaking, puking trans fluid anymore. See y'all. Ta-da! Told you it ran and drove now. If you're wondering how I fixed the line, there it is. Well, this is going to conclude part 1, guys. Now, there's a possibility that a special somebody is buying this car back. And if he does so, I'll link you his channel or whatever he posts this car on down below, because the legacy of this old Merc is not over yet, guys. It's not even close to being over. Anyhow, peace out, y'all.